All right, now in this lesson here, as I said just a minute ago in the last lesson, I want to show you guys how we can introduce a second scene manager and have that scene manager control the movement of a target, okay, or some actor. So let's go ahead and come all the way back over here to scenes where we've got the one scene manager, and let's go ahead and create another scene manager. So here's our new one. Now look at this. We've still got the first scene manager, start movie, selected. If I come over here to actions, woo, lots of actions in there. If I come over here and grab this second scene manager, come over here to actions, there's no actions. I'm just proving the point that a scene manager's job is to manage his actions.
Right, it's a separate entity.
That's right. So let's go ahead and come back over to scenes and let's talk about this. First of all, we need to worry about it getting kicked off. Now, I could come in here and make its name the same as up here. So let's say come all the way down to events, tag, and tell it to start movie. Okay? That way, this guy is going to respond the same time the other guy is going to respond. So both these would get fired off at the same time. But what I want to do, this just keeps it a little bit easier for readability, if you will, and it also allows me to demonstrate a new sub-action as well. I'm going to call this start target, like such. Okay, now watch this. Start target is going to start when? Let's go ahead and come back to start movie, and I'm going to start it right away from the very beginning. So this isn't super practical, but again, it does demonstrate a point. So from the very first action, I'll come over here to sub-actions. I'm going to create a new sub-action, and this is going to be a sub-action trigger. Now, you saw earlier that I had created a trigger, back over here, way down there, right about there. And now, that's a trigger that the player ran over that caused the scene manager, the first one, to respond. Now what I've done is I've put another type of a trigger, a sub-action trigger, into the list of sub-actions being controlled by an action, and this guy can broadcast out an event over the level that this new scene manager can hear. So watch this. With him in place, I can come down here to his properties to trigger, and the event name can be what? Start target. Exactly. Okay, so now with start target in place, this guy's going to fire instantly, which is going to cause start target to kick off, and then of course start target needs to do something. Well, first we need to tell it that up under scene manager, it's going to affect not the viewport camera, but the actor. Okay, once you start having multiple viewport cameras being controlled by the scene manager, you're going to end up with some very crazy type results.
Oh, for sure.
Because you're going to end up with a little battle between who grabs what. So let's go ahead and change that to affect actor, and the next thing is going to be what actor is going to be affected. So let's see.
It's going to be our bullseye.
He's cruising up here, somewhere over the rock, right about there. So we'll grab this guy, come down here to affected actor, and hit use. So that's who we're going to be affecting. Now what I do want to do is go ahead and come into this guy's properties, just like I had done earlier with the trigger, come up here to advanced, be hidden, and set it from true to false so that I can see this moving around. We know that right now it's on top of the rock, but when we actually test this out in game in a few minutes, we'll see that it's going to move. So now I can come back down here to start target, which currently is managing 0 seconds, and I can start setting up a series of actions and interpolation points, just like I did when working with cameras. So let's see, right now we're starting out, somewhere down over here is that other interpolation point. There it is, right there. Just kind of getting my bearing real fast. Let's say I want to, right there. So let's say that I'm going to start this action out, looking for something interesting, maybe over here kind of close to the wall. So I'm going to come over here to Tools, and I'm going to say Add an Interpolation Point in Action right there. And then maybe I want it to crisscross over the path of my camera, maybe somewhere over here, since I'm going to be looking at it. And I'm kind of thinking at the moment what might look interesting. So we'll just throw right here. We can always adjust. So we can see the path up here above. Okay, and we can see it here as well. Let's go ahead and come back over here to sub-actions. First thing we need to do is adjust our duration. And our first, if you remember, our first segment for our camera movement is 8 seconds.
Right.
So let's go ahead and make this an 8-second duration as well. Now, I want to go ahead and come up here to my path type, change the path style to Bezier. And we'll just, there's our little S shape, so don't panic. We'll simply right-click, straighten out Bezier. And I want to go ahead and kind of round this out a little bit. So maybe something like that. Pull that over. And maybe even make this kind of follow along the wall a little bit longer.
Right.
and then pull this one, and he'll slowly start pulling back in. I don't know. It's going to give us kind of an interesting look, and we can just play with this. But here's something very important to note, and that is if I come over here, pull this guy up, and hit play, look what we've got.
Ooh.
That's right. Right now, this is the path that we're taking for that particular scene manager. Let's come over here and grab this guy and open this up, and you would think right here that what we're going to see is going to be us following a moving target, but the target's not moving because we're not broadcasting out that start movie. So if I close this right now and I come back down here to start target and change its name to, let's come back up here to events, start movie. Take a look at this. We'll come back in, we'll hit play. Oops, wrong one. Let's hit stop, come back up here. This is really important. Let's go ahead and just reopen that back up and hit play, and take a look at that. We're still looking at the same point. It's very important to understand that in this particular case, you're only looking at that given scene manager. You have to go into game to see this happen.
Okay. Makes sense.
So let's go ahead and close that out. Just really like to kind of drive that home because I've seen people in the past get very frustrated trying to work with why am I not seeing this in my preview window? This is an in-game thing.